In game number 3, both these players 3-0. For Ali, he's got Nurse's Mine. I'm not sure what the play was that turn. See if we can get a better look at that. Do apologize for the glare there.
Looks like a chromatic sphere.
For Steve.
And these decks, a lot of times, they'll just be like two ships passing in the night.
Pretty much.
You know, they're each kind of doing their own thing. They don't have a lot to attack what the other person is doing.
So I've played Living End quite a bit. I actually used to play this matchup quite a lot. For Living End, it is so important for them to find Fulminator Mage in this matchup for pretty obvious reasons, and they can just keep doing it a bunch.
Sure.
Jungle Weaver is what Steve is sacrificing right now. I think we're going to see him use Ingot Chewer as well.
And
I guess the question is, did Steve play land yet this turn?
apparently Steve's only allowed to play one land a turn.
That's really unfortunate. That stupid rule the game has.
Seriously.
Urza's Mine. Going to use that to sacrifice Chromatic Sphere. Urza's Mine was the draw there for Aintrazi, so he doesn't need a second one of those. He needs the other pieces. Looks like he's going to deploy a Mine, play a Relic, activate that. Now, Relic, obviously a very good card.
Oh, yeah.
Against this deck, but it's surprisingly resilient against graveyard removal like Relic because of a card like Ingot Chewer. So what Steve can do here is he can use the Ingot Chewer,
Yep.
evoke it, and then stack it in his favor.
As long as he puts these in the right order, the Chewer will destroy the artifact before it ends up in the graveyard.
Correct. So that's what he's going to do. So there's your Evoke on the Ingot Chewer. Relic will be taken care of. And now Ingot Chewer goes to the graveyard. And now it looks like Steve might be cycling a Deadshot Minotaur. But he'll start by playing a Bloodstained Mire and just simply pass the turn back over to Aintrazi. Aintrazi will take a draw step here. Grove of the Burn Willow is the draw. Here's a Chromatic Sphere. He'll sacrifice that. Take a draw. Urza's Power Plant is what he's found.
A little closer.
Yep. One piece away now. And now there's a there's a Sylvan Scrying. That'll search for the tower. Tron online starting next turn.
That'll do it. So we'll see if he has any of the big payoff spells in his hand.
It's weird because this matchup is basically 2 combo decks, as you mentioned, kind of 2 ships passing the night, but there is some kind of weird interactions and jockeying for position that are involved with Relic, when to cast Living End, stuff like that.
Yep. Yo, you can't make any sloppy mistakes.
Steve's going to cycle, a Deadshot Minotaur. Now he's cycling a Street Wraith. He'll have to pay 2 life to do that. Twisted Abomination, the draw here.
And it's also possible Steve won't want everything in his graveyard to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, which is weird, but true.
Well, if a big Planeswalker comes down on the other side, removes them all from the game, you got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, if Ugin comes down and wipes everything, that's a huge issue. I'm going to search for a land with the Bloodstained Mire. Steve going to go with an Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, in this matchup, it's not about living ending as fast as possible. Now, one of the nice things about Living End is because you have so much cycling and card drawing built in your deck, your ability to find Fulminator Mage and Avalanche Riders, if he's playing it this weekend, is pretty high. He also has 4 copies of Beast with him, too. So he can really mess with the lands.
I like it when you see this deck just start casting its bad creatures.
Oh, that's the fun part. When you have to go into hard mode.
Oh, yeah.
Get a little. I like to call it getting grimy.
Yep. Get your hands dirty in there.
That is a Verdant Catacombs. Rubin is going to pass the turn back. Beast within is going to take care of the Urza's Power Plant.
All right, and he did it on the upkeep so that the creature would have Summoning Sickness. Save him a turn of 3 points of damage.
There's a Beast token. Aintrazi will draw. Picked up another copy of Urza's Tower. Tower's a land for the turn. Make sure they put the appropriate Beast token on the battlefield,
please. There it is.
Yeah. Watery Grave the land. Todd Anderson the Beast. Todd Anderson's probably going to die in a second, but, you know, that is what it is.
It happens.
That's just, it's just going to happen sometimes. Steve, he'll untap those 4 lands. Take a draw here. Copperline Gorge is what he's picked up. Doesn't have a way to mess with the mana anymore, it appears.
But on the flip side, it looks like Ollie does not have a whole lot going on there in his hand.
Oh, the trick, of course, because you're right. He doesn't have a lot going on in his hand. He doesn't have the other Tron piece. But when you're playing against Tron, you don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So all Steve sees right now is he sees 2 mines in a tower, and he's thinking, well, you're a Tron piece away from doing something completely busted.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to move forward? He's going to start by playing a mountain. Twisted Abomination, Violent Outburst, Ingot Chewer, Copperline Gorge. That's the hand here for Steve Rubin.
So he can get, 1 or 2 more creatures into his graveyard and then put them all into play if he wants to.
Yep. Aintrazi drew a copy of Relic Progenitus.
That's a good one to draw right now.
I think Steve might have a response if that gets cast. That's just my best guess. There's Grove of the Burn Willows. Well, he might just pass the turn back. Aintrazi's going to start by attacking for 3. Rubin will fall down to 13.
Get some.
That token's not going to be around for long, so it might as well do something.
Yeah, he got his.
Yeah. Here comes the Relic. Wow, no response. I guess he doesn't have much of a reason to respond because he can just chew.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have everything, right?
Relic Progenitus with a full graveyard? Yeah, that's fine. Copperline Gorge might be the land here. Nope. Yep. All right, here's Chewer. Oh, Hardcast Chewer.
Wow, this is not what I expected at all.
I did not expect this at all either. All right, there goes that. A Relic activation takes care of a land. And Aintrazi not activating the Relic. Now I'm completely baffled.
I'm not sure what to say about that.
Yeah, now I'm completely blown away. I almost feel like I'm missing something. Steve will untap, take a draw here. What would the rationale be behind not activating Relic there?
Is there a reason Ollie would want his graveyard to stay around?
Okay, if he has a card like Wurmcoil Engine in his graveyard or Ulamog or something like that, then he would want his graveyard to be intact. That would make the most sense. Because keep in mind, the other Relic that got blown up, he didn't activate that one either. So that would make that would be the most make the most sense. The most logical reason why he's not activating these Relics. Ingot Chewer's going to come across. Twisted Abomination. Little Swamp Cycling.
Yeah, that swamp. Limited all-star right there.
Very good card.
Twisted A-Bomb.
Original set.
Oh, yeah.
I'm asking.
I'm not going to remember the names of the sets of these cards.
All right, Scourge is the answer.
Scourge, of course.
Come on.
Man.
I enjoy some card knowledge.
Sure. It's one of my weakest areas.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you my blood type, but what set Monstrous Caryatid is from. Yeah, or Caryatid. Yeah, I know that.
Sure.
It's easy.
Why not?
I'm not going to tell you.
Your parents must be very proud.
You leave my mom and dad out of this. They're happy with my life decisions mostly because they have no choice what my life decisions are. Okay. Here comes an attack for 3. Life total is here 17 to 11.
This is not playing out at all how I would have thought.
No, me either. This honestly leads me to believe that there's something in Ollie's graveyard. Like we clearly don't have a great look at the graveyard right now, but that's like the only logical answer that I have to this puzzle. Land number 6 here for Ollie does not have Tron. Now here's Wurmcoil Engine. This might get a response. It's also possible that like Steve doesn't have Living End in his deck anymore, because sometimes this deck sideboards out that card and then they just cascade into something else. In his sideboard, he has nothing that. Okay, he's not on that plan. Sometimes you see like one Yixa Jailer or something like that, but he's not on that plan. Now, once Wurmcoil comes in, if Living End gets cast, like Wurmcoil will leave, but Ali will get 2 worms from it.
Okay.
That's how that happens.
It does leave behind 2 bodies.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
like there are some cards like the way that Living End reads, it's kind of funny. Like, you know, when the opponent has Graph Trigger's Cage in play, Living End still works perfectly fine.
Okay.
What some people didn't know, like when that was a thing a couple of years ago. So some cards interact in a weird way with Living End. So I imagine that's actually, what they're asking. You see a judge is here right now. They might just be asking, how does this interact? So they'll get their answer to that question here in just a moment.
Sure.
But this is a weird looking game. Yeah, we're going to come back to the booth here really quickly. This is a really strange looking game here between Steve Rubin and Ali Aintrazi, 2 very accomplished players here on the SCG Tour. So as they figure out what that ruling is, we'll be able to let you guys know what it is. But in the meantime, Cedric Phillips, Craig Krempels here in the booth. We saw a little bit earlier in this round, Jacob Baugh with his awesome mono black Eldrazi deck.
It had quite the showing.
Now you said you don't like big mana strategy, so you'd never play that deck, right?
To me, that deck can be so low to the ground.
Okay.
That it is intriguing to me.
It's kind of grandiose. It feels like a better Tron deck. Do you think that's accurate?
It's tough to say. You do get access to some discard spells. The black spot removal is very good.
Okay.
You know, so maybe it is.
Yeah, it's like they're both kind of doing the same thing, which is big mana strategy. But you know, they both have Ulamog in their deck, and we just watched Jacob cast Ulamog on turn 5.
Sure, but you'll never have Karn on turn 3 with it.
That's true, and you won't have Wurmcoil Engine. I'm envisioning that your matchup against, like, Tron has a very bad matchup against Burn. I think that mono black deck probably has a bad matchup against Burn too. At least what it felt like it didn't bring very many tools to the table, especially game 1.
Maybe. I guess it depends just how far behind it is on turn 3.
Yeah.
You know, because if you Blight Herder bringing some tokens into play, and you're not at that low of a life total, you're probably in okay shape.
Yeah, you might be okay. All right, judge ruling's taken care of. If we can figure out exactly what that judge ruling was, we'll of course let you guys know at home, but play does continue here between Aintrazi and Rubin. Rubin with just a Blackleaf Cliffs and passing the turn back.
He's being very patient here.
Yeah, they were discussing the interaction between Wurmcoil and Living End, which doesn't come as much of a surprise to me. They're just both playing in such an obscure way that I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
You know? Like the no activation of Relic both times from Ali, it just leads me to believe that something strange is going on. Ingot Chewer is going to block here. 3 damage is going to come across. It also feels like Steve's trying to kill him in one turn.
Yes.
And there's a Chromatic Star. Aintrazi will sacrifice this. You see his life total is up to 23 now from the lifelink. Draw a card. A Chromatic Sphere is the draw. I love a good redraw.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. So now he's going to use the mine, sacrifice this, draw a card, mana floating. Didn't get a great look at the draw there. Actually, I think it was a power plant.
So the double Ingot Chewer in the graveyard will come back and eat both Wurmcoil token engines? Is that right?
That's what should happen. It's just strange, right? Because it felt like Steve has been able to make a move multiple times with Violent Outburst, and he's refusing to.
Yes.
I have no reason to believe that he doesn't have Living End in his deck. I have to imagine it's still there. And he's at 5 facing lethal next turn, so we're going to find out one way or the other, right?
Sure. Well, he's running out of time here.
Yeah. If we don't, he dies. So we find out one way or the other. Taking the way that he's organized his graveyard makes it seem like everything's coming back. So does he have the ability to attack for 23? All right, he's just going to pass the turn back, draw a card. He's not happy with the size of his graveyard. cycle Jungle Weaver.
That's a big boy.
Draw a card. I also feel like the other thing that he's doing right now is so I think another reason that he hasn't made a move yet is he's trying to maximize his chances of Fulminator Mage.
Okay.
So that he can maybe just chump block Wurmcoil Engine, blow up a land, get Fulminator Mage back with the living end, and kind of cut the outs that Aintrazi has. That's one of the other things he's trying to do here. Pivot needle to draw here for Ali. Trying to get yourself in someone else's head is pretty tough sometimes.
So what do you think he has the Pithing Needle in his deck for?
Mostly Fulminator.
Okay.
I would be shocked if it's anything else.
Sure, it's just the one target, but it's so good against the deck.
Here's Violent Outburst. Look at a Cascade trigger. Well, we know, yep, top card of the deck.
Right there for him.
All right, so here's Living End.
All right, and those Ingot Chewers might not get anything.
Attention, modern open players, that is time for round 4.
Oh yeah, because you get a trigger.
Yeah, they
The
would
triggers
need
on the stack. Yep.
They would need to choose the. Oh, and there's
That's,
the Ulamog.
okay, that's what happened. I think he just discarded on turn 1.
I guess so.
Okay, this makes more sense now. I wouldn't have cast Living End either.
it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yep. All right. Now Aintrazi, because he just played his power plant, so now he's tapping for a bunch of mana. And now he's activating Eye right now. So what's he searching up?
Possibly just another Wurmcoil.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Get something on the board now.
All right, so Ali's taking a very creative route this game. Because what this meant is he went turn 1, discard, go. Because you saw where Steve tried to play like another land early in the game, and it's like, no, I did this on my first turn. I discard Ulamog, I said go. So that's why that first opening stage of the game looked a little bit weird too. So now we find out, can he beat an Ulamog that's on the battlefield? I see the life totals here 23-5. Steve will draw a card, picked another copy of Violent Outburst. He has one Monstrous Carry Bid, which has to attack. Has no choice. So
that thing, that's what it does.
Couple different things for Ali to block with.
Michael Paddock and Ben Winokur. Michael Paddock and Ben Winokur to the main event stage, as well as Andrew
He'll block with a Death
Wilson.
Touch creature.
Andrew Wilson, Michael Paddock.
Actually, he'll block with a lifelink creature, it looks like. Go up to 26.
Stage, please.
Okay.
Black Leaf, let's pass the turn back. Aintrazi will draw, picked up a copy of Ghost Quarter. I'm going to do an Emrakul check now. I don't think he's playing one this weekend. I guess Ulamog can just do this, because it exiles 20 cards.
Yeah.
Can't be killed. Why do I think Steve's on a no-outer?
Well, it looked like he drew another Violent Outburst, so he's wondering if he wants to Living End now or let Ulamog do its thing and possibly have 0 targets for the Living End.
And there goes 20 cards. I don't think he turned over a Living End in those cards. Keep in mind, these cards are exiled, not put in the graveyard.
Yep.
Which matters a lot. I think we might see some blocking here from Steve. I think we're going to see blocking in such a fashion that it kills as many of his creatures as possible.
Well, Ali gets to choose.
Wait, but he's still, but he's still got to, like, he still has to spread the damage accordingly, right?
No, he can pile it all onto one creature if he wants to.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Yep.
And that's what he's going to do.
Okay. So Steve tried to work him into a mistake there.
Yep.
By spreading out the damage.
Just kind of play dumb a little bit, like,
Yep.
oh, hey, I'm trying to kill this.
Yeah.
You know, oh, it's indestructible. Well, you get all of my guys.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
No, just your Ingot Chewer's dead. Here's another Wurmcoil Engine.
And I can't imagine it, you know, if Ali gets another turn to attack, removing 20 cards, I can't imagine that's not enough to win the game.
Yeah, at this stage, it feels like, to me, like Ali is not going to get to go to his attack step. Like, he'll announce attackers. That's assuming Steve doesn't draw living in this turn. That's I think that's what we'll see Steve do. But again, even if that happens, right? He's got an Ing and Chewer in the graveyard. That's it.
Yep.
So Steve is going to draw. He'd have to chain together a lot of cyclers for this to work out in his favor. Pith Needle did come down. You guys saw that at home. That named Fulminator Mage. Not much of a surprise there.
I mean, Ali seems like he's in such good shape.
Steve's going to concede. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any way out for Steve.
No.
I think that's the issue here. And in a weird roundabout way, we saw Ali discard Ulamog on turn 1, and Steve could never overcome that. And I think the way that he's supposed to overcome that is to mess with Ali's lands, never cast Living In, which is why we saw him never casting Living In during the entire game, and then probably hard cast his threats. But he never found Fulminator Mage. He never found any way to actually enact that game plan. As a result, Ali Aintrazi wins this match 2-1 over Steve Rubin.